a child she will now, of course, have to raise alone.
He's never going to meet her father at all. And he named her the night before this game, Jemiah Tia Howard.
Denisha is back home tonight with her family in Miami, Florida.
Tonight, police are moving forward with the investigation into Jasper Howard's murder. A Hartford lawyer says police have told him his client will be arrested in the stabbing death.
That attorney isn't identifying his client, but says the Bloomfield man got into a fight with members of the football team at the campus dance. And when it happens, it'll be the second arrest connected to the stabbing. Our team coverage continues with Fox 61's John Charlton, who brings us up to date on the investigation. John.
Well, Brent and Erica, although there has still been no arrest for the actual homicide of Jasper Howard, we are hearing that at least one man was arrested for the fight which broke out here outside the Student Union Center early Sunday morning. Of course, as you said, we're also hearing another man may be arrested in the very near future. And we're also hearing tonight that several of Jasper Howard's teammates may have also witnessed the deadly crime.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Attorney Justin Freeman.
Because of no priors, this was John Hood's very first arraignment. However, the circumstances of the 21-year-old's crimes are tied to the more serious homicide of 20-year-old Jasper Howard.
The death of Jasper Howard is truly tragic, and my heart and prayers go out to his family and loved ones. With that being said, the events that transpired at the UConn campus have received a great deal of media attention, and I hope in no way that that attention has influenced the bond of my client. My client is a young man who I believe is at the wrong place at the wrong time.
But UConn police believe Hood was part of the fight which led to Howard's deadly stabbing. Howard died from a single stab wound to the abdomen. According to Hood's arrest report, Brian Parker, a redshirt freshman also on the football team, was another stabbing victim. While being treated, Parker pointed at Hood and told cops he was involved in the fight outside the Student Union Center. Two other women positively ID'd Hood in the fight as well.
And when approached by police, he gave police a false name.
Police say Hood falsely identified himself as Brian Williams. Bail was set at $10,000 and Hood later bonded out of jail. No one answered at Hood's Hartford apartment building. However, we are now hearing a Bloomfield man will be arrested soon in Howard's stabbing death. That man's attorney, Darren Freeman, declined to identify his client, but told the Hartford Courant that police executed a search warrant on his client's home Sunday night. Freeman admitted his client was involved in the fight with about 6 UConn football players after a campus dance, but wasn't the one who stabbed and killed Howard.
As you can imagine, any video surveillance, witness accounts, police officer accounts, all of that is taken into account when we conduct the investigation.
Now, we should mention John Hood is charged with breach of peace and interference with police. Meanwhile, earlier today, Coach Randy Edsall was heard saying that one of Jasper Howard's teammates was holding him as he was bleeding out, while another was applying pressure to Jasper's abdomen wound. Randy Edsall also met with Jasper's mother as she flew in earlier today this afternoon from Miami. Reporting live at UConn, I'm John Charlton, Fox 61 News at 10.
The mood at UConn is understandably somber. Some professors began the day with a moment of silence. Others asked the students if they wanted to talk about the murder.
Our team coverage continues now with Fox 61's Rebecca Stewart. She spent the day on campus where everyone is trying to come to terms with what happened.
The scene has changed dramatically since Sunday. The yellow crime tape is gone. So is the major crimes van. The clouds have lifted. The mood has not.
I think it's a waste of the potential and life and love. And I think it's just a waste.
He left a lot of people behind that he was hoping to try to help or uplift in some way. And that's really what hurts me.
Yusuf Washington was there that night and can't wipe the images from his mind. Washington is a junior at UConn, majoring in economics and psychology. He sees a lot of himself in Jasper Howard.
Economically and, intelligence-wise, you're trying to uplift your own and the next generation that comes after you. So, I mean, that's the mentality that I have, and I'm sure that's the same mentality he had.
Both escaped rough inner cities. Jasper from Miami, Yusuf from the south side of Chicago.
So I actually understand that whole mentality of coming here to try to find something better. I mean, because UConn for me was close to some type of heaven at least.
But in Yusuf's version of heaven, students don't get stabbed and killed.
he came here to try to better himself, and what happens, you know? I mean, you try to get away from it, but sometimes you just can't. You can't run fast enough.
Not even a star football player.
My mom, because she raised me by herself, so I couldn't imagine her receiving that call saying that your son has passed away.
Yusef feels for all the loved ones left behind, the family who pinned their hopes and dreams on their young star. UConn was supposed to be where life began for Jasper Howard. No one could have imagined this is where his life would end.
Like, your whole mentality is not to, at least initially, is not to stay around where there is violence, because you always find that the people that get hurt are the ones that shouldn't get hurt. It's the the intelligent ones that they talk about, or the ones who have the most prominence are the ones who get hurt and end up dying.
For Fox 61 News, I'm Rebecca Stewart.
Today's edition of the UConn Daily Campus provided extensive coverage of Howard's murder, including a full-page tribute in honor of him.
And the UConn Huskies website has this tribute to Jasper Howard on their homepage. The site also has a photo gallery and guest book for condolences.
There are also multiple Facebook pages dedicated to Jasper Howard, one dedicated to memories of the football star, another focused on helping to find his killer, and the pages already have thousands of members.
Tonight on the Storrs campus, the UConn women practiced with heavy hearts. The basketball team often scrimmaged with members of the football team, including Jasper Howard. Fox 61's Tim Lammers was at the practice tonight. He'll join us later in sports with reaction from the women's team.
And stay with Fox 61 News and the Hartford Courant on air and online and in print for all the developments in connection with the murder of Jasper Howard. We're back on the air tomorrow morning at 4:30 with the very latest.
More than 100 firefighters battled a massive fire at a Windsor Locks tobacco farm today. No one was hurt as several sheds burned to the ground in the blaze.
Billowing black smoke was visible for miles from the farm off Old County Road near Route 20. Fox 61's Lori Perez is live there tonight with a look at the damage. Lori.
This area off of Old County Road in Windsor Locks is the heart of the Tobacco Valley. There are sheds like this one all over this part of the state. The particular barns sheds that burned today are owned by O.J. Thrall. And if there's anything lucky about this fire, it is the timing. We are told that these particular sheds were actually not being used this year, which means that thousands of dollars of tobacco were not lost.
The flames from not one, but several different fires stretched hundreds of yards for firefighters getting to the scene just after 4 p.m. Several sheds tough to get to, and at least 4 one-ton propane tanks were creating a difficult, if not dangerous, situation. Windsor and Windsor Locks firefighters called in dozens of neighboring crews to help secure the scene. But in the end, the chief says the best they could do was watch and wait.
We're going to let the propane burn out. Right now it's vented and burning, so that's which is a good thing. We're going to try to help cool the tank down a little bit. That's what the tankers are coming in for.
Neighbors from miles away and drivers up and down I-91 could see the smoke hundreds of yards into the sky. Tobacco farmer Steve Jarmock saw it and felt for his tobacco growing peers.
My heart goes out to him because, right, no one, I mean, you work darn hard all summer to get a good crop, and if something like that happens, you know, you see your fortunes go away in an instant.
He showed us his filled shade tobacco shed tonight, telling us that typically the sheds house 6 to 10 acres of tobacco worth thousands in leaves used for cigar wrappers. Propane tanks are used to fuel hundreds of burners that are placed in the shed to cure the tobacco as part of the alternating drying and moisturizing process. Propane tanks could be seen today near the flames, and there were reports of explosions, but sources tell us these barns were empty. A break for O.J. Thrall, which lost another shed, that one filled just over a year ago.
Bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news for any farmer that loses, you know, a barn or a crop.
Now the flames are over tonight, but the investigation into how they started continues. We are live in Windsor Locks tonight. I'm Lori Perez, Fox 61 News.
All right, Lori, thanks very much. Well, we were comparing notes earlier today, and both of us surprised when we turned on the Patriots games last night and saw all that just to the north of us in Boston. I guess we kind of dodged a bullet.
We were fortunate that it stayed to the north of us, but there certainly was a lot of it over at Foxborough. And hopefully, Garrett Argianis, you're going to tell us it's going to stay to the north of us, at least for a little while?
Yeah, I tell you what, guys, the weather is certainly turning the corner back to reality, what's normal for this time of year after a really chilly stretch. We had 2 bouts of snow, both on Friday and on Sunday in spots. Now, it is cold out there tonight, certainly. 33 right now in Torrington. It's 35 degrees in Meriden. Willimantic's 34. 39 now in Hartford. Most spots go down into the 30s tonight, but a few spots may slide back into the upper 20s by first thing in the morning. Skies are clear. It was a gorgeous day today. Boy, it was great to see that sun again. There are some clouds back off to the west, and those will tend to work in later on tonight. So we'll call it partly cloudy first thing in the morning. Cold, but not way off the mark for this time of year. Temperatures in the 30s. And if you like the transition from the 40s yesterday to the 50s today, it's going to get warmer after this. We'll come back, check on that full forecast in just a few minutes.
Tonight on Fox 61 News at 10.
Multiple murders in Hartford have anti-violence protesters fired up. Why they feel their cause is falling on deaf ears. Charges expected in the Balloon Boy hoax, where the investigation stands tonight. Lending money to family and friends. Experts weigh in on how to handle being hit up for a loan.
Families around here are counting pennies to get through this economy. So when we hear about another tax, it gets our attention. Washington is talking about a new tax on juice, drinks, and soda. They say it's only pennies. Well, those pennies add up when you're trying to feed a family. Washington, if you're listening, what doesn't seem like much to you can be a lot to us.
Tell Congress, no taxes on juice, drinks, and sodas.
Closed captioning of the Fox 61 News at 10 is made possible by Toyota. Moving forward.
I'm a traveling nurse, and Riley here is my therapy dog. And I got a Toyota RAV4 because I can trust it. Driving to my patients, I cover hundreds of thousands of miles, but I've never let them down because my RAV4 has never let me down.
Get something you can trust. Toyota ranks highest in dependability among all automakers. And now you can lease a new RAV4 for just $199 a month. To learn more, visit Toyota.com. Tomorrow morning on Fox 61.
It's that time of the year when people start looking for seasonal jobs for the holidays.
That's right. While many companies are not hiring because of the economy, we found a few that are. Find out who's hanging out the Help Wanted sign.
Tomorrow morning on Fox 61.
Rated everyone.
Foot Locker's giving away a trip to the 2010 NBA All-Star Weekend. Enter for your shot at footlockerunlocked.com.
Plus, text the word NBA to 37798 to win your own copy of NBA 2K10 and a $200 Foot Locker gift card. Message and data rates may apply. You can also enter on fox61.com.
Introducing HealthKey.com, your new resource for a healthy mind, body, and spirit. From workout routines and recipes to relationships and expert advice, HealthKey.com has the information you need to manage your health and achieve a balanced lifestyle. HealthKey.com. Unlock your potential for life.
Tonight at 11, remembering UConn football star Jasper Howard. As we learn more details about the events leading up to his murder, we're also hearing from the mother of his unborn child. And we're seeing a lot of activity across the UConn campus in honor of Howard. Fox 61 News and the Hartford Courant continue to work together to bring you the most complete coverage of this latest campus tragedy. The Fox 61 News at 11 starts right now.
Now, the Fox 61 News at 11.
Tonight, a show of solidarity for murdered UConn football player Jasper Howard. Candles lighting up the store's campus to remember the bright future of a star athlete that suddenly turned dark. And as students, fellow teammates, and Jasper's family members hold a vigil to mourn his death, we continue to learn more about what happened early yesterday morning when Jasper was stabbed to death outside the student union. Fox 61's Darlene Choudhury begins our coverage tonight with more on what's happening on campus tonight. Darlene.
Well, Erica, it was another emotional day here on campus. As you mentioned, we're outside of the student union. This is where Jasper Howard was stabbed to death. At the very location where he was, there are candles still burning and students stopping by all night long to pay their respects. vigils, one night to honor one memory, that of 20-year-old UConn football star Jasper Howard, tragically stabbed to death homecoming weekend at a school dance.
I just think it's important to celebrate his life. He was a really big part of our community.
At the first candlelight ceremony, a more private, intimate gathering with Jasper's football family. Also escorted by Coach Randy Edsel, Jasper's mom, who flew up from Miami, Florida. In tears, she walked to the very spot her son bled to death. Surrounded by Jasper's teammates, a mother grieved for the son she lost. Jasper's family offered a few words, then the group huddled in prayer for Jasper, his pregnant girlfriend, and their unborn child.
There was a prayer. We all held hands. One of the football players spoke, and it was pretty just silent. I think we were all just pretty much thinking to ourselves and, you know, taking it all in.
He was just a good guy, you know, someone that loved his university, loved his team, and just a person that just loved life.
Most students who attended the vigils received word through Facebook pages created in honor of Jasper's memory. Others learned of it just walking by. Either way, whether students knew one another or not, they pulled together in this time of tragedy.
I just think it's important to make sure his memory lives on within the university.
And the students have no intentions of stopping any of these tributes. There are even more planned. Tomorrow, students are planning a blackout day where they say it will be a day of silence and students will be wearing black. Also, this Saturday, a big game against West Virginia. Students plan to get together and support the football team by watching it together. For now, reporting live in stores, I'm Narmeen Chaudhry, Fox 61 News.
Thanks, Narmeen. And as we learned of Jasper Howard's murder, we also learned that he was soon to be a father. Jasper's girlfriend, the mother of his unborn child, was in Connecticut with him this weekend, but she did not go to the homecoming dance where he was stabbed.
I stayed in the room after he left or whatever. He was like, "I love you, I'll be back." And then around 12 something, I texted his phone. I said I was going to sleep until you return. He never texted back, and then I get a call at like 2 in the morning saying he was stabbed.
Tanisha Freeman is 4 months pregnant with Jasper's baby girl, a baby girl she'll now have to raise without the baby's father.
He's never going to meet her father at all. And he named her the night before this game, Jemiah Tia Howard.
Tanisha is back home tonight with her family in Miami, Florida. Meanwhile, tonight, we're slowly learning more details about what happened at the time of the stabbings. It all happened during a UConn-sponsored dance that was held after the football team's homecoming victory over the University of Louisville. Now, at some point, someone pulled a fire alarm, and that cleared everyone out of the student union. Then sometime a fight started, and Howard and another student were stabbed. Tonight, new details. Fox 61's John Charlton joins us now with the latest, including information on what could soon be an arrest in this case. John.
Well, Erica, although there hasn't been an arrest yet for the actual homicide of Jasper Howard, one man was arrested for the fight which broke out here outside the Student Union Center early Sunday morning. Now, as you said, tonight we're hearing another arrest could be happening very soon, and we're also hearing tonight that several of Jasper's teammates may have witnessed the deadly crime.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Attorney Justin Freeman.
Because of no priors, this was John Hood's very first arraignment. However, the circumstances of the 21-year-old's crimes are tied to the more serious homicide of 20-year-old Jasper Howard.
The death of Jasper Howard is truly tragic, and my heart and prayers go out to his family and loved ones. With that being said, the events that transpired at the UConn campus have received a great deal of media attention, and I hope in no way that that attention has influenced the bond of my client. My client is a young man who I believe is at the wrong place at the wrong time.
But UConn police believe Hood was part of the fight which led to Howard's deadly stabbing. Howard died from a single stab wound to the abdomen. According to Hood's arrest report, Brian Parker, a redshirt freshman also on the football team, was another stabbing victim. While being treated, Parker pointed at Hood and told cops he was involved in the fight outside the Student Union Center. Two other women positively ID'd Hood in the fight as well.
And when approached by police, he gave police a false name.
Police say Hood falsely identified himself as Brian Williams. Bail was set at $10,000 and Hood later bonded out of jail. No one answered at Hood's Hartford apartment building. However, we are now hearing a Bloomfield man will be arrested soon in Howard's stabbing death. That man's attorney, Darren Freeman, declined to identify his client, but told the Hartford Courant that police executed a search warrant on his client's home Sunday night. Freeman admitted his client was involved in the fight with about 6 UConn football players after a campus dance, but wasn't the one who stabbed and killed Howard.
As you can imagine, any video surveillance, witness accounts, police officer accounts, all of that is taken into account when we conduct the investigation.
Now, we should mention that John Hood is charged with breach of peace and interference with a police officer. Meanwhile, earlier today, Coach Randy Edsall of the football team said that 2 teammates were with Howard at the time of the stabbing. One of them was holding him when he was wounded, while the other teammate was applying pressure to that stab wound to the abdomen. Reporting live at UConn, I'm John Charlton, Fox 61 News.
Thanks, John. And since Howard's murder outside the student union, the scene there has changed. The yellow tape is gone, so is the major crimes van. The clouds have lifted, but the mood has not.
Your whole mentality is not to, at least initially, is not to stay around where there is violence, because you always find that the people that get hurt are the ones that shouldn't get hurt. It's the intelligent ones that they talk about, or the ones who have the most prominence are the ones who get hurt and end up dying.
The school's co-op has sold out of Jasper Howard's number 6 jersey. People plan to wear them in his memory at games from now on. Fox 61 News and the Hartford Courant are making sure you get the most complete coverage on the Jasper Howard tragedy. We are also making sure you get your chance to pay tribute to the UConn athlete. On Fox61.com, you'll find a photo gallery of Jasper's powerful performances on the field, the latest on the investigation, and a place for you to express your condolences. Our team at the Hartford Courant is also following the story very closely with us. You can log on to current.com or pick up a copy of tomorrow's newspaper for complete coverage. So stay with Fox 61 News and the Hartford Courant in print, on air, and online for the latest developments in connection with the killing of Jasper Howard. And don't forget, we're back on the air tomorrow morning at 4:30 with another update.
Your Fox 61 First Weather with Garrett Argianis.
Well, coming off a not very nice weather day yesterday, we had rain and snow in many areas, 40s for highs then, 50s today. Now, it has cooled down quite a bit tonight. Notice that we are in the 30s statewide, except for Bridgeport, still 41, but 32 in Meriden, 34 now in New London, so we could be talking about frost right down to the beaches in southern Connecticut coming up overnight tonight. Skies are mainly clear. There are some clouds back off to the west, and some of that cloud cover is working this way, so that's going to kind of mix with the sunshine as we go through the day tomorrow. And after a cool start, a really nice finish, 63 for the high temperature tomorrow. It's 3 better than that on Wednesday. We could be close to 70 on Thursday, so a warming trend over the next few days. We'll talk about that and what's up for the weekend ahead in just a few minutes.
In Hartford, community leaders and Mothers Against Violence rallied in front of City Hall to protest what they call unequal treatment of victims of crime and their families. Reverend Henry Brown says a life lost is a life lost, period, and should be treated equally, but he believes that is not the case. Brown says just one day after UConn football player Jasper Howard was murdered, the governor offered condolences and promises to help.
Our governor is already making promises about whatever resources they need to have them available for them, such as grief counseling and stuff like that. And we want the same thing for our people here that are dying every day.
Hartford has seen 30 homicides so far this year. A spokesperson for the governor said Governor Rell is deeply concerned and troubled by the recent violence in Hartford. The governor dedicated a dozen state troopers to Hartford last year, and she continues to make significant investments in youth violence prevention programs. More than 100 firefighters battled a massive fire at a Windsor Locks tobacco farm today. No one was hurt as several sheds burned to the ground in the blaze. Billowing black smoke was visible for miles from the farm off Old County Road near Route 20. Fox 61's Lori Perez is there tonight with a live look at the damage. Lori?
Erica, if there's anything lucky about this fire, it is the timing. These particular barns that burned today are owned by O.J. Thrall, and we're told that these sheds were not being used this year. The flames from not one, but several different fires stretched hundreds of yards for firefighters getting to the scene just after 4 p.m. Several sheds tough to get to, and at least 4 one-ton propane tanks were creating a difficult
about their service? How can you be sure? At Empire, we